Welcome to Shell Lectures, and today we'll be discussing on a topic of class 10 chemistry, and that is chemical reactions and equations. Before getting into the topic, let us talk about the normal changes which take place around us and in us. For example, digestion is a process which takes place in us, that is digestion of food which we consume. Respiration is another process which occurs in our body. So all these kind of processes makes the initial substance change into some other substance. For example, when your mom is cooking a delicious food for you, initially she would have had some vegetables and other raw materials, raw substances, which were turned into delicious food at last. So this kind of a change takes place in the initial substance. Okay, so the changes which take place are of two types. They are physical and chemical. Okay, so if we take, if we look for an example for physical change, it will be tearing a paper. Tearing a paper. Whereas for chemical change, all the chemical reactions which takes place in the lab. Okay, so tearing a paper. When I tear a paper, for example, when I am tearing a paper, can I bring it back to its original position? Of course, yes. Am I right? So it's considered to be reversible. I can paste it with a glue or something, and I can bring it back to its original form. So this physical change is considered to be reversible. It's reversible in nature. Whereas the things which happen in the laboratories, that is chemical reactions which bring out chemical changes, they are irreversible in nature. Okay. So all the chemical changes are accompanied by chemical reactions. All the chemical changes are accompanied by chemical reactions, and this is what we are going to learn about in detail in this lesson. Okay, so first of all, how do we know that a chemical reaction has taken place? That's what we are going to learn next. How do we know? Okay, so the first thing is change of state. Secondly, it is change of color. And then evolution of a gas. And then temperature. Okay, so the first thing is change of state. For what have I written these things? That is, how do we come to know that a chemical reaction or a chemical change has taken place? Okay, these are the four indicators which tell us that a chemical change has taken place. Change of state. So there are three states of matter, as we all know. We would have learned in our primary classes: solid, liquid, and gas. So if there is a transition from any of these states to the other, and there happens a chemical change, then that kind of thing comes under change of state. Solutions of lead nitrate and potassium iodide. What are they? Lead nitrate and potassium iodide. When you are taking solutions of lead nitrate and potassium iodide and you are mixing them, you will be getting a yellow precipitate. What is that? You will be getting a yellow precipitate. The color is important. You will be getting an yellow precipitate of PeVi, lead iodide. You will be getting an yellow precipitate of lead iodide. So a change in color takes place here. Am I right? So this kind of a chemical reaction which takes place with a change in color comes under this category. Okay. Now the third thing is evolution of a gas. What do you mean by evolution of a gas? That means that a gas is produced in the chemical reaction. Okay, so when you take an example as when you are taking zinc granules, okay, when you are taking zinc granules in a test tube, and when you are adding dilute HCl to it, what are you adding? Dilute HCl or dilute H2SO4, okay? Dilute hydrochloric acid or dilute sulfuric acid. When you are adding to zinc granules, what are the products which can be predicted? Zinc chloride plus hydrogen. Okay, the products that can be predicted are zinc chloride, that's a salt, and hydrogen is a gas. So evolution of a gas. So here a gas is evolved, thus a chemical reaction has taken place. Okay, so this is also an example. And then the last thing is temperature change. We all are aware about two words, and if you are not aware, you have to know it by now. They are exothermic and endothermic. Okay, they are exothermic and endothermic. Exo, exit, it's going out. Endo, entering, okay, so it's coming in. So exo, endo. Exothermic is nothing but heat is evolved or heat is released out. Okay, that's what is known as exothermic. Whereas endothermic, heat is absorbed. Okay, heat is absorbed is endothermic, heat is evolved is exothermic. So these kind of changes also take place in chemical reactions. It's very obvious. Some chemical reactions takes place with the evolution of heat and some take place with the absorption of heat. Okay, so that is another one category which determines a chemical reaction. So these are the four things from which we can come to a conclusion that a chemical reaction has taken place. Okay, now just now I told you about the burning of magnesium in air. So I have to write it in a form of equation. Okay, I am going to write it in the form of an equation. So if I write it in the form of a word equation, that is using words, how do I do that? Magnesium plus oxygen. Am I right? Magnesium, it was in the form of ribbon and we burned it in the flame, and what was produced? Magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide. So this kind of a reaction is known as word equation. Okay, because I have used words to represent the substances. Can you understand that? This is a word equation. But we need a more convenient form of representing chemical reactions. Am I right? So what people found out later was chemical equations. These are word equations and these are chemical equations which are written in the form of chemical formulae. Okay, all the substances are represented in the form of their chemical formula. For example, magnesium. What's the chemical formula for magnesium? It's Mg. Okay, it's Mg, and it reacts with oxygen. So oxygen will be O2. It will be O2, and it gives MgO. It gives MgO. So this kind of reaction is known as chemical equation, and it is written in the form of chemical formulae. We have not used words here. Am I right? We have only used chemical formulae. So it's a chemical equation. Can you all get that? So this is what is a word equation and this is what is a chemical equation. Another important concept which we have to go through in this lesson is for example, if you take this iron, Fe is the symbol for iron. I am mixing it with H2SO4. Okay, what is this? Just now we discussed sulfuric acid. Okay, this is sulfuric acid and I am treating it with iron. What do I get? Okay, we'll be learning about this later, how these products are formed. That is a mechanism. We'll be learning about this later. So we'll be getting FeSO4 and hydrogen will be what? Okay, hydrogen will be what? And we'll be getting FeSO4 and it's named as iron sulfate. It's named as iron sulfate along with the evolution of hydrogen gas. Here, something which is known as balancing chemical equations comes into concern. Okay, for example, you know this law. You would have learned it in the last year. That is law of conservation of mass. What is that? Law of conservation of mass. I told you that whenever you write a chemical reaction, for example, if you write the basic thing which we have learned right now, Mg plus oxygen gives MgO. Okay, this part of substances which react together, they are known as reactants. And the new product which is formed because of the reaction which is taking place is known as products. Got that? So reactants and product. And then there is an arrow mark which shows the direction, in which direction the reaction proceeds. Okay, so this is a basic thing from which we can understand the meanings of the words reactants, arrow mark and products. And there is also another one thing that we can indicate the physical states. Okay, we can indicate the physical states in this reaction that we will be learning after balancing. Okay, so reactants and products we have learned. So here if you see, this part is the reactant part. And this is the product part. So you have to check. Each and every element has the number being balanced. Okay. So there are totally 3 here: iron, hydrogen, 4, sulfur, oxygen. Here you can find 1 iron. There also 1 iron, 1 iron, 1 iron. Hydrogen here 2. Am I right? So here 2, there 2. Sulfur 1, 1. Oxygen 4, 4. Are they all balanced? Yes. So this is an example for a balanced chemical equation. This is an example for a balanced chemical equation. Whereas I am giving you an unbalanced one and you have to balance it. Okay. When we take iron plus water, okay, iron plus water. So iron, I am representing it again as Fe, and water, we get the products as Fe3O4, okay, Fe3O4 plus, yeah, Fe3O4 plus hydrogen, H2. Okay, so this is the reaction. That is Fe plus H2O gives Fe3O4 plus hydrogen. This is also a chemical reaction and we are going to check whether it's balanced or not. Okay, so let's again do the same thing. Iron, hydrogen, oxygen. Here 1, here 3. Hydrogen here 2, there 2. Okay, hydrogen okay. Oxygen here 1 and there is 4. Okay. So this equation is not balanced because here the number of elements which are present on the reactant side are not equal to that on the product side. So law of conservation of mass is not obeyed. So how can we make it obey? I mean, every chemical reaction must abide by the law of conservation of mass. So here it's not obeying, so we have to make it obey. Am I right? So how do we do that? We have to balance. Okay. Before balancing, we have a lot of concepts to be taught. Okay. You must always remember that you cannot change chemical formulae. Okay. For example, here it's 1 Fe and here it's 3 Fe. So I am going to rub this. That's not allowed. Okay. That's not allowed. So you should not do things like that. You can only add numbers here. That is as coefficients. You can only add numbers as coefficients to balance a chemical equation. Okay. So first thing which you have to keep it in your mind is you have to balance the atom which is present, the element which has large number of atoms. Here you can find it out that the large number of atoms is possessed by oxygen, O4. Am I right? So first you have to do that balancing. Here it's O4. What about here? It's only 1. You don't mind about hydrogen. Okay, if you are going to add 4 to hydrogen, it also pertains to, if you are going to add 4 to oxygen, it also pertains to hydrogen. Because they both are combined. Okay, so your oxygen 4, so I am adding 4 here. So 4 into 1 becomes 4. Okay, now see hydrogen, 4 2s are 8. So hydrogen here it's 8, here it's just 2. So we have to add 4. Okay, and now one more thing is there. What is that? Iron. Here it's 3, whereas here it's 1. So I am adding 3 here. Okay, so this is how you must balance a chemical equation. Okay, you have to check if all the reactants and products are present in the same amount. Only then the law of conservation of mass will be obeyed. Okay, and after this, the physical states have to be mentioned. After you balance a chemical equation, it's not very necessary, but if they ask you to specify physical states in a chemical reaction, how do you do that? That's very easy. If it's gas, you have to write G at the bottom. If it's solid, yes. If it's an aqueous solution, AQ. And if it's a liquid, L. Okay, here iron, it's a solid, we all know that, so we are writing S here. H2O here is a gas actually, because here we are taking water as steam. Okay, we are taking water as steam, it's steam water, so we are writing it as H. And here it's once again gas, and this is liquid, gas, because it's hydrogen. Okay, so this is how you must represent the physical states of the substances present in a chemical reaction. Okay, so this is how you have to balance and this is how you have to represent the chemical reaction. Okay, so this is just the introduction part. In the next video, I will be talking about the types of chemical reactions in detail. Thank you. Please subscribe to my channel.